This tutorial will start lesson 3, and this will help us to learn how to insert layers into our drawing. So the first thing we need to do is open up lesson 2 if you don't already have it open. I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Open. Here's my lesson 2 right here, and as you can see, this is just how I left it last time. And what I really like doing in CAD, so I don't have to do things over and over again, is making copies of previous drawings that I already have done. For example, lesson 2 is currently open, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as lesson 3. I'm just going to save it as lesson 3 all, since I called lesson 2 all. And now you'll notice that at the top, currently I'm on lesson 2 all, but when I click Save, now this says lesson 3 all. So now I can easily make the changes to whatever I need to do, and be ready to go. For example, I'm not going to need this name anymore. I'm not going to need these guys anymore. I'm not going to need this anymore. By the way, one thing I should point out is you'll probably notice that if I go from right to left with the mouse, or if I go from left to right, it's either blue or green. And what that means is if I go from right to left and I just touch a little corner of that and I click, it's going to select that line. Where if I go like this and I touch a little bit, it's not going to do anything unless I fully encase that line. So when I want to select things quickly, usually I use the green or the right to left selection tool, and that way I can delete things really easy. As you can see, I'm leaving 2A there because I can easily double click on that and change that 2 to a 3, and I don't have to redo this over again. Also, if I need to change the date, let's say it happens to be January 14th now, and I can easily go in here and change that to January 14th. And it's just real easy for me to make changes when I make a copy of lesson 2 to start lesson 3. So you can go through here and do that pretty easy. I can change all of these to lesson 3, and I'll let you do that on your own. Okay? But the biggest thing that we're going to learn how to do, at least in this part of the tutorial, is how to insert layers, because CAD is nothing without layers. Okay? So when we first started, this is our layers toolbar right here. As you can see, currently when I look at it, it has just a 0 layer. Yours may have a depth points layer in it as well. That's okay. But mine just has a 0 layer. And what we are going to do is we are going to add layers until we all have the same layers. So in order to add layers, I simply click on Layers Manager, and up comes this box right here. And currently, this is the only one I really have a copy to make. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on New, and now I have a new layer. And we're just going to put in the following layers. And then I'm going to come back later on, and we'll look at each of these boxes and what they mean and how they need to be configured. So go ahead and type these in as I'm typing them. Also, feel free to pause this tutorial if I'm going too fast for you. So here we go. I have caps lock on. So my first one is border, and then I'm just going to make a bunch of new ones here. And after border, I have center line. After center line, I have construction. And a lot of these should sound familiar to you from the alphabet of lines packet that we did. I have dimension. Oops, I need to learn how to spell apparently. And after dimension, we have hatch. After hatch, we have object. After object, we have phantom. After phantom, we have text. And I'm going to need to make 2 more, or actually just 1 more. And after text, we have hidden, which actually I'm glad I did an extra one because now I don't need this one. I click here, I go to delete, and you can see the little red X on it, and that will go away once I click OK. Alright, so what I need to do here now is, because these currently all look exactly the same, there would be no way I'd be able to tell the difference between these layers until I make some changes. So I do want all of these to show. I don't want any of them frozen. I don't want any of them locked, at least not yet. And I definitely want to change colors because this is one of the things that makes CAD easy. So a border layer I'm going to keep white. Center line I'm going to make red. So I simply click on this guy. and I go down here until it says red. Construction line, I like making those yellow. Dimension, I like making those blue. Hatch, I like making those magenta. Object, I like keeping white. Phantom, I have as, let's go with cyan for phantom. Text, I like keeping text white. And hidden, I like green for hidden. And then obviously layer 10, that's going to get deleted, so I don't need to worry about that. So those are the colors I'm going to go with. My border layer is white, and we have red for centerline, yellow for construction, blue for dimension, magenta for hatch, white will be object, cyan will be phantom, text will be white, and hidden will be green. Alright, after that, we do need to change a couple different line types, as you guys recall from the alphabetical lines packet. For example, center line, that is not going to be a continuous solid line. So we need to change this. And so center is right there, ready to roll for us. And if it was not there, I could go to other, and there are all kinds of different line styles where I could go to load, and you may need to go in here and find center if yours is not there. So there's center right there. You can click OK, and now it would be in there. So basically the ones that you're going to need are center, continuous should already be in there, you're going to need hidden, and you're going to need phantom. So one more time, I double click on this, I go to other, I go to load, and I load the ones that I need. And again, the ones that you're going to need are phantom, hidden, and center. Continuous should already be there. So I go and click OK. So center line, I just choose center. Construction is going to be a solid line. Dimension is going to be a solid line. Hatch is going to be a solid line. Object is going to be a solid line. Phantom is going to be a phantom line. And the last one we need to change is hidden. Is going to be obviously be a dash line or a hidden line. Okay. So now we've changed the colors. We've changed some of the line types. Now we're going to go over here to line weight, and we are going to change some thicknesses as if you were changing the size leads that you were using in your pencil. So what I like to do is I like my border lines or my border layer to be thicker than all the rest. And so I have my border layer be 0.9 as if I was using a 0.9 millimeter pencil, the thickest ones of them all. All of the rest I have on default except 2. I like my object layer to be 0.7. And I like my phantom layer to be 0.7. And you may work for an employer or a company that has, all the different settings that they have, and you'll have to go with those. But at least now you know how to get in here, you know how to make changes, you know how to add layers should you need them, and make any changes should you need to. Other than that, the only other thing I would want to do is never would I want to have my construction layer print. So I can go over here to the printer, I click on it, and it puts a little red slash through it. And all that means is I can write all kinds of things or draw all kinds of lines using my construction layer, and when I print out my drawing, anything that's on the construction layer will not print. So it's kind of nice that I can leave those on my drawing and not have to worry about them printing. It's kind of a cool thing to do. Another thing I'm going to have you do is go ahead and not print the 0 layer. And what this will do is this will ensure that you are using the correct layers. So if you were ever to print something out and you notice some of your lines are missing, that would simply be because you left it on the 0 layer and we have set the 0 layer not to print. So once this is done, we're going to go ahead and click OK. And now when I go to my layers box, the drop down box, you can see all of my different layers that are ready to go. Okay, so now you should be ready to start lesson 3A. And the first thing I want you to do is draw a hidden line. So I change it to the hidden layer, and I click on line, and I'm going to turn ortho on, so it draws a perfectly straight line, and there is a hidden line. Okay. Then what I'd like you to do is come back and actually next to it write layer hidden using the text tool that you learned at the end of lesson 2. The next one it asks you to do is object line. So I'm going to go ahead and click, and I'm going to draw a line. And as you can see, that is, and I can draw all my lines at the same time. It's really not that big of a deal. Just when I'm done, I can come back to each one of them. This first one is supposed to be a hidden line. This one is supposed to be an object line. So I can come here and I can go to object, hit escape, can come to this guy right here. The next one is supposed to be a phantom line. Change it to phantom. The next one after that is supposed to be a section line. So I change that to section. And actually, what we're going to do is we are going to use phantom again, because a phantom line and a section line actually look very similar. But we're not going to put a section layer on there. You'll also notice in the book they use the text heavy and a text light layer. We're just going to use one text layer. So I have made some changes from the book, but just make sure that every layer that you have up here is represented down here, and you should be good to go. So that is how you make layers, and I will see you on the next tutorial.